Hi, it's Therese and I'm here for Altenew, and we're going to make some hot pink 3D rose flurries today using this awesome die set. Lots and lots of dies in this set, so it can be a little bit confusing, but what I do is I actually have them mounted on some magnetic sheet in their groups. So each flower has 3 or 4 layers and each leaf has a couple of layers, so by keeping them together it just stops me getting confused. And what I've been doing is actually die cutting the size, like so if I want a certain look of a flower, then I get that flower off first, die cut everything I need, and then I'll put it back, and then I'll get the next 4 dies off, and that way I'm not getting all confused and mixed up. There are guides on the packaging as well as at the store. You can find them linked to the actual product if you go into the product. I've got some hot pink and red cardstock, and I've just got scraps out of my stash, and I'm just going to die cut heaps of sort of different layers of flowers. I know in the guides it will sort of tell you that like the most normal way to do it is, and often that's with the darkest colour at the back, and then you layer up to your lightest colour. But these images and a lot of these 3D dies and images that Altenew are releasing look good with other mixes of colour as well. So you'll see I actually, in the largest rose here, I did actually one of the layers with the darkest colour on top, and I think that looks beautiful too, and it just mixes it up and makes it look like a different flower. So I do make a stack of flowers today using all the different shapes of flower. I think I used a total of 3 different shapes, but I cut a couple of 2 of them. And I'm also using my mini blossom. I'm reaching for this quite often just for the small die cuts, but if you've got a big shot you could probably do quite a few flowers all at the same time. They're small enough dies that you can run them through your machine. Like a lot would fit on a plate in one go. I just had the mini blossom there, it was just easy. I decided to use a liquid glue today. This is the matte medium. It doesn't actually dry glossy, so if it does happen to seep out the sides then you're not going to be able to see it. It will dry matte. And what I've done is I've kept each flower together, and then I can add my liquid glue to the next layer, the back of the next layer, and that way I know where the glue is going to sit on the flower image, and it won't, like I wouldn't be able to tell where it was going to be the other way around. So I found this was the easiest. The glue just gave me a little bit of move time, so if I didn't get it on quite right then I could just sort of adjust it slightly. They are really easy to layer up. They look complex, but they're actually not. They sort of, you can just look at the flowers and know exactly where they need to be. Otherwise, like I said, just have a look at the guide. That'll give you heaps of guide as well. And I find the matte medium is a fairly fast drying glue. Another good way of creating these flowers would be to use either a Xyron and make them into little stickers. You could also use a dotted adhesive, or use like some double-sided, that double-sided sticky sheet, and put that behind your coloured cardstock before you die cut them out, and that makes them into a sticker as well. I did also cut out a couple of different colours of the green, and these leaves are really a great shape, and I think there's a total of 3 different kinds of leaves in the set, including these single ones which were really handy, and they were really easy to put together as well. I decided to add sort of an impressed background on my card front, and this is the cube cover die. I'm going to run it through my Big Shot to emboss it onto some Lagoon cardstock. So that uses tab 1, a base plate, the die facing up, and the cardstock. Then I can use my rubber mat and another base plate on top of that. And it's, when you run this through your machine, it doesn't force your machine at all. So if you are finding that you feel like you're forcing your machine, stop. You've probably got the wrong sandwich. It always pays to double check your sandwich. And look at that, that's just awesome. Alright, the sentiment today, you can't really see very much here. I've got some acetate and I'm stamping this. This is from the Forever and Always stamp set, and I'm going to black heat emboss this on some acetate. So I've used my embossing ink, and I'm just being careful when I'm hitting it with my heat tool not to hold it near the plastic acetate for too long, because I don't want it to warp. It is quite a thick acetate that I used as well. So I cut my sentiment down, I cut my panel down, I've cut a top fold card to fit the same size as my cube cover die. I'm saying it backwards. And I spent ages laying these flowers and leaves and sentiment out, and I didn't make you sit through all of that. Be thankful. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually, because this is acetate, it does make it really hard to adhere it. So what I'm doing is actually adding some micro glue dots where the flowers are going to be and behind some of the embossed black letters so that they won't be visible. And I'm actually adhering this directly onto my card front. And that way it's not going to shift, because the glue dots really do have a very strong hold. And these flowers looked great in lots of, and I think that was the problem when I was laying out the design of these flowers. They looked good in so many different ways. So I'm going to have to make more cards so that I can do all different layouts, because they really do fit in well together. And I just love the bright bold colours, which, by the way, wasn't what I started with my initial design thoughts. I was going for white on white and maybe bringing in a little bit of pale grey on my flowers, but I don't know, I was obviously in a bright mood, because that didn't last. As soon as I saw, I was getting my cardstocks out and I saw the pinks and the lagoon, I just went, gotta do it. Had to be hot bright colours today. And I'm glad I went with it, because I think they're just beautiful together. Again, I'm using my glue dots, foam dots, popping it up, giving it some dimension, and putting my card together. Not difficult at all. I'll list all the products that I have used today at the blog, so you'll be able to head through the description below. I look forward to seeing you there. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.